Maybe that would... No, okay, no. If he moves the queen over here to c2, then I again play bishop takes b2 check, and he can't take the queen. He can't take it with the queen because because it's pinned. Then the queen is pinned to the king, and he's going to lose his queen because the king has to move, and then I take the queen I take the queen with my rook. Okay, so he's got to move the king. He can't move it to any of these spots. He can't put the queen in front. He can't put the rook in front. So he really only has one move, and that's king b1, and that's the one he did. So now at this point, I didn't see any, major moves that I could do right away to bust into his position. Of course, this square, the b2 square, is protected by this rook, and so I wanted to move the pawns into the game again. So I move my a pawn to a4. Now he moves his rook to c2. This again, it's a move that seemingly, it's a good defensive move at this point, because if this bishop ever moves, it's no longer, this file is no longer under a threat from the rook, and if you look at it, it really pins the bishop. Because the bishop can't move. The bishop is on a different square than the rook, so the bishop cannot move and defend the rook at the same time. Now he could take this rook. If I don't do anything, he can just take the rook with. He can just take the bishop with the rook, and he's got it for free. I really can't do anything. I mean, I can trade off the rooks, but then I've lost my bishop for free, and I lose the game because I'd be down by a full rook. So I protected it, which is what I wanted to do as moving the b pawn anyway. I just moved the a pawn up for preparation to move the b pawn over here. He trades off the pawns on the b file, but again, I still have it protected. Now, if you notice over here, he has this pawn, which can't take this bishop because it's pinned. It's pinned against the king. And again, notice one very important thing. I know I'm taking a long time analyzing this game, but this is a fascinating game. I have to go back and look at this in a little bit more detail over here. But notice his queen is still hanging. So, the first thing you'd think is, well, oh, okay, just alleviate the pin. What's the big deal? But alleviating the pin is not so easy for him. Alleviating this, because if there wasn't a pin, then he would just take the bishop with the pawn, and he'd win the game. But where can the king move? Can the king move here? Well, then in any case, I could move the rook to the a file, rook to a8. But there's even a better move. Either way he moves his king. If he moves his king to a1 or to c1, my next move is again bishop takes b2 check, and then the queen hangs because he's got to do something to get his king out of check. He can't. I guess he can take it with the rook. He can either way. If he moves the king here or here, and I take bishop takes b2 check, he can take it with the rook because the rook is no longer pinned. But then I get the queen because the queen is hanging. So it's really not that easy for him to eliminate the pin on his king until he eliminates the fact that his queen is hanging, with discovery from my bishop. So that's what he does. He moves his queen, and if he figures, well, he does, so he might as well get a pawn. So he plays queen take d6. Now I play my rook over to the a file, threatening, if he does nothing at this point, obviously, and threatening checkmate. I'm threatening queen a2 check, then king c1, and then queen a1 is checkmate because the flight square of the queen is protected by this bishop. Besides for the fact that even if it weren't checkmate, this rook would hang after I played my queen up the board. So he's got to do something about that checkmate. So he decides over here that he's got to take the bishop. Is there anything else that he could do? Well, he could move to. Let's see, if he moves his king over here, let's say he moves his king, he can't do that either. He can't move his king to c1 because then I just play rook a1 and that is mate. No, yeah, it's mate. That's mate because he can't fly along the rank and he can't come here because of the bishop. Is there anything else that he can do to prevent disaster on the back rank? There really isn't. I mean, his queen can't really, his queen doesn't have any checks or anything on this move. His queen doesn't really look like he can get back in time to, to do anything about this threat, about this either queen a2 check, or if the king moves over, then the rook a1 check. So he's really got to sacrifice the rook over here to get that bishop to save himself, so he does. I take it with the pawn, and again, pinning, threatening checkmate, this move, he doesn't do anything about it, so he has no choice. He has to do something about it. He has to play rook h2, And at this point, there's really not a lot that he can do to stop my pawn march. I mean, my c pawn over here. If you notice, I'm now up by 2 pawns in material. We each have a queen and a rook, and I have 2 pawns extra. This pawn is pinned. The king can't move very easily. Again, you see, notice once again that if his king ever moves to this spot, if his then again rook take if his king ever moves to c1, then rook a1 is checkmate, and I'm also threatening. Well, I'm threatening what I played. I played queen a2 check. He has to move to, well, yeah, I guess that's his best move. King c2. I play rook c8. Again, pinning that. Notice that both are pinned now. No, well, not pinning, but threatening to. Well, I'm threatening a whole bunch of things at this point. One second. When he played here, I missed an easy move. Look, I could have just played queen take b2 check. King has to move, and then this rook falls. All right, so I could have won the game there, but it wasn't that much longer anyway. I played rook c8. This pawn is pinned, so he can't take it. His king moves to alleviate the pin. I play queen. I play c takes b2. Again, threatening to queen next move with check. So now again, this is kind of desperation. At this point, I don't really see any way in which he can save the game. He has no checks immediately. He plays queen d7, threatening to take the rook with check. But then I simply play b1 queen, and it's queen with check, which means that the king has to move. I have an extra queen. Obviously, I'm going to win the game, and at this point, he resigns it. So this was, really one of the one of the good blitz games that I've played. He made a mistake in the middle of the game, losing that knight. I still don't know whether it was a sacrifice or probably wasn't a sacrifice. It was probably just a mistake. I made a mistake in losing a rook, but I was able to, to compensate that really with that bishop. That him sacrificing his dark squared bishop for my rook over here on d8 really turned out to be not such a bad thing for me, because now I still had my dark squared bishop, and my dark squared bishop really turned out to be decisive when I was able to play bishop takes c2. Okay, so thank you for watching my longest presentation yet. If you have any comments, of course, please feel free to leave them, and I'll see you next time.